An ace can be one of the most difficult things to get in a game of CS, particularly at the pro level when you're already playing against the best of the best. But today I want to look at some of the most amazing aces we've seen in recent time and talk about what allowed them to happen, as well as what some of the thought processes were going through these pro players' minds. Now let's start off with a round 17 win where Liquid managed to take this second round away from Big despite losing the pistol. Elige, a player known for being very intelligent, finds that opening pick on towards tabseN, looking over what I call north smokes, with those smokes that cover and allow you to sneak into garage, and he's just going to give it up from there. And as we fast forward this, you can see a lot of Big make their way down towards secret, and Elige is just going to play around here in this main area. Now he doesn't go rushing down the vent, he waits until Fallen takes contact and then moves down here, catching a timing where no one from Big is watching this particular entry point. He catches Tizian, who was already low on HP, so just one deagle shot for him, before not overextending and forcing this fight towards the players on the site. Again, catches cersei, another low player, before he now knows these two players are stuck on the site, and he takes them both out. And there are a few very interesting details this round. One, Elige's opening kill. Big very aware of this. You can see tabseN's crosshair was up there, but he might have fell asleep by the looks of it because he stopped tracking the edge of where Elige was peeking from, and he gets this opening kill, which obviously gives Liquid the man advantage. But almost more importantly than that, tabseN was the only player with a smoke grenade from Big, and when he dies, well, he drops his flash on the ground rather than that bigger, more important piece of utility, which was going to be important to how the later part of the round plays out. And from here, we see some sloppy play from Big. One, they're too slow to cross with their smokes, and we're also going to see a wicked team flash come out from Tizian, which blinds his whole team, allows Naf to peek effectively, and he ends up getting 2 tags, lowering 2 of those players we saw Elige kill later in the round. And from there, we get to see what dropping this utility early on did for Big. When they come and take this lower bomb site, they can't use the Molotovs, the smokes, to try and push off the U-Haul ramp position, which means they can't isolate the fights of anyone on the site from those U-Haul members, which means they need numbers here to take the site, which is exactly what they do. You see they come swinging out of decon, out of those double doors, all ready to take these fights together, even after they take Fallen out. Now what this does, because they need these members for these fights, is it gives Elige an opening to sneak down the vent like we saw. He smartly picks the time when Fallen takes contact, knowing this is when Big's going to be focused on the site and not so much on those rotation points. Now Tizian, of course, very aware of this, these Big players, comes back to check it, but this is where those earlier blunders from Big really come to hurt them. Tizian's one-shot kill from the deagle of Elige, so he loses that fight, and then from there, Elige does a very good job of staying alive in this decon position, because with him here, it's almost impossible for Big to plant the bomb because of all the players Team Liquid have swarming at this U-Haul position. There's nowhere for them to safely plant that one of these positions can't be peeked from. So he stays alive, just checks behind him, catches cersei, and even from there, he doesn't start fighting out this decon door until 2 scouts are peeking from Team Liquid, tagging those players up and applying pressure as well. He gets the final 2 kills, but you can see this was 3 players from Team Liquid all fighting together to take down these final 2 members. So what about the man I showed in the introduction? Simple, he had 4 aces on LAN at Cologne, and this round here is going to be one of them, where he's supporting his team going in with good utility, he trades Bubsky after he gets 2, and from this point he just plays this really well, isolating 4 different fights. You see covering from Electronic even though he gets taken out, before he then walks into the site and starts looking for this kill outside the mid doors area, which he's going to eventually get from Magisk, and then from there dupreeh is left on an island and he's going to lose this 1v1 duel. Now from here, Simple gets the bomb down, and he drops this smoke here, which allows him to peek aggressively in front, but also allows him to cross through to that tunnels area. He finds Zip, and from there, he's just going to position himself at the backside and wait for glaive to come his way, who takes his time getting a lot of information, which we'll talk about in a second, before walking in, and that's going to be Simple's ace. This round's actually a great example of how an AWP should play on a hit, such as this one going out the B tunnels, and it's actually good for you guys to learn what Simple's doing here. So AWPer often throws a lot of the utility because you don't want him just running in first, and only want the riflers to do that, and then he just stops and he holds angles where the riflers will know they can't get peeked from. And you can see this most obviously with Electronic here, where he stops in this position here, and he holds for dupreeh, peeking either side of that double stack, or even under window there. You can see the angle he's holding right now. So he stops any of these possibilities from dupreeh, and that allows Electronic to scale. Now, the one spot that dupreeh can be, Electronic does expose himself to. It's difficult because he's trying to jump across the mid doors, not get caught off by that A AWPer from Astralis, and he actually ends up jumping straight into dupreeh's hands. I think he could have played it a little bit tighter, but nonetheless, from this point on, Simple is no longer playing support as the site's going entry, and he has to do it all himself. Now from here, dupreeh does a good job making noise to draw Simple's attention, before Simple turns back and watches Magisk. And he knows in this scenario, dupreeh does not want to give Simple a 1v1 or an easy fight. He's going to try and play around, draw a lot of attention, and let his team rotate in. Now, Simple knows this, which is why he spends more time focusing on the rotation than the obvious target in dupreeh himself, and he ends up taking out Magisk. Now, from this point, obviously, dupreeh is super isolated. Simple knows what kind of areas, and it essentially just turns into a 1v1 at this point, which, Simple in a 1v1 is quite difficult to deal with. Now, in the clutch, we're going to see this smoke come out here from Simple. And I'll stop and talk about this smoke. One, he knows the rotations are a long way away, so dropping this smoke means he could potentially cross to tunnels, but it also opens up all of his avenues of potentially getting aggressive. He can still peek from window, he can still peek out the doors, or he can cross in this scenario, as opposed to if he just smoked off the door, well, obviously that limits one of his potential aggressive options, meaning he can only really peek out that window area. You can see what it does to Astralis. Because he drops this smoke, Zip has to watch window, and glaive has to watch the doors, but that means they can't watch anyone crossing. So you can see how he drops this smoke to really increase the number of options he can have. Now, it's Simple. He's got the AWP, so he's going to choose to be aggressive, and he finds Zip starting to move on once he's happy that Simple probably won't be peeking in this window area, which nets Simple his 4th kill. Now, from there, we're just going to see our man move back here to the back of the site and let glaive do his thing. Glaive moving up to do what I was talking about before, where he just holds edge of this smoke, seeing if Simple is going to try and cross towards this tunnel area. Isn't quite there the whole time, but Simple doesn't do that, which means glaive is then going to go walking onto the site with a pretty good idea that Simple is on this right-hand side or this backhand side of the site. He's going to walk in. He's not scoped in, though, to check the position Simple's in, and Simple's just going to take him out, and that's a really difficult kill to glaive to get. Simple holding that on LAN. Now, because I'm a genius at scripting these videos, we're going to see another round here where Simple is holding Palace, holding that line of attack, while the rest of his team is trying to swing out a ramp. Very similar to what he was doing coming out those B tunnels and Dust 2. However, this time Simple's going to be the victim of an ace to ZywOo, and he's going to take him out, trying to do his job to help the team. But ZywOo's first kill actually comes here in middle, taking out Boomich, who was very aggressive here in towards middle, taking out Shox, but he trades that kill. He jumps in here towards Con, knowing there's obviously heavy pressure towards A, and holds for anyone in Simple's position, maybe trying to move onto more deeper and more aggressive angles. Now, when he doesn't get that and the utility starts coming through, he peeks out wide. Simple has absolutely no chance in that fight, and he's in here fighting with his teammates of Masuta and Kyojin, and he misses that shot actually on the player jumping away, checks behind him, and now they know where Electronic is, caught in here behind Palace. He's forced to take a fight, and ZywOo is going to take him out. Now, here's where the interesting part of this round plays out, is straight away, rather than staying here towards A, ZywOo quickly rotates here towards B, preemptively guessing where the Na'Vi players are trying to go. And you can see the position this player is in is absolutely ridiculous, so that when Bit comes through here with the bomb, that is the easiest kill of ZywOo's life. Even I probably could have hit that shot without that guy killing me. And then from there, with time winding down, he actually decides to let Perfecto come in here, but he's going to end up running here towards the B site. So we'll speed this up here. You can see as time gets low, he misses that shot and he moves here towards the B site, knowing obviously that Perfecto does not have time to go towards A. And he has to clear out all these different angles, does Perfecto, before finding out where ZywOo might be holding from. And once it gets to this point here, we're going to see ZywOo let him cross, know he's in a rush, and kill him jumping out the window. Now, the first couple of kills are pretty self-explanatory. One thing I do want to point out is ZywOo knows he has to support Kyojin on the A site. So when this smoke actually comes in from Perfecto, you can see it bounces. He hears that bounce, and that's when it actually prompts him to move out wider and get in front of that smoke, because he doesn't want to just let his A player go down for free, which results in him actually finding Simple on this kill, which Simple didn't have any chance into, because obviously ZywOo further away from the angle gives him a massive advantage in that one. Now from there, again, this kill onto Electronic's pretty simple, him fighting with his teammate, and then we're left in this 1v2 scenario where ZywOo preemptively rotates towards B. Well, let's look at the utility from Na'Vi. As he starts moving this way, look at Perfecto and Bit. Absolutely zero utility on each of them. And there's a reason for this. There was a lot committed here from Na'Vi towards this A site. Not to mention the utility in middle for Boomich early on to get aggressive. And then there's multiple smokes towards top con that we talked about. Molotovs thrown out from Na'Vi. Heaps of flashes bombing everywhere. And they've also obviously killed Simple in power. So ZywOo knows there's not much for Na'Vi to push him off these angles, these long range angles in connector or jungle, which means they probably don't want to fight an AWP at those particular ranges. They're risking a double peek and hoping that they just trade instantly. Otherwise, they're essentially just giving ZywOo a free kill. So ZywOo preemptively thinks what their logic's going to be. Well, let's go back towards B. Obviously, couple of less AWP angles there, and he gets there way before they would ever expect him to. And from that point of view, we saw obviously the first kill on towards Bit was super easy, and then from there, even though he misses the second kill, he disappears all the way back to B site. And look at it from Perfecto's point of view. He has to jiggle, jump peek, do some crazy moving around all these corners, because ZywOo can be on any single one of these angles coming all the way here towards the B site, that by the time he actually gets to the B site, well, there's only 7 seconds on the clock. He just has to commit knife out, and ZywOo is very patient, sees that no one's really challenging him, and just kills him mid-air jumping out, not even when he initially saw him. Now, the other ace was this one from Twist, where he just comes off a nice A execute from FaZe. I'll link the demo below, so if you want to steal the exec, you can implement it into your own team. But that is the end of the video, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll catch you all in the next one.